Yeah, we'll talk about poisons, eh? Yeah, poison we used to fight poison about 100 years ago. So if you got bit by a brown snake in Australia before 1950, much more deadly than a venomous cobra, you applied a tornaquet above the bite. You opened the bite area and sucked on it and spat it out. Made it bleed to get rid of the venom. You also applied bushman style a few grains of Condys crystal poison to the bite. Opened the area. One poison to offset another, so they said. The ones who thought they knew about it in those days. Condys baths were still used by the nursing homes for some things. In the 1960s, Ringbarkers soaked their blistered hands in Condys crystal to harden the hide to keep working with an axe. Ringbarkers learned to use a soft round flat oilstone to make the axe blade razor sharp. Needed to cut through the bark into the sap at a 45-degree angle. The cuts must meet in the sap to kill the tree. In the early 1900s, medicine was touch and go. Poisons, nasty drugs so deadly all were used by the medico. Well, you had to watch what you were doing 100 years ago, because if you went for an operation, you just might die, depending on what the mug surgeon was on the job, eh? Yeah. Anyway, arsenic still works on white ants. It goes through them all as they eat the poison dead till they run out of ants. At least that's the theory. A puff of arsenic into a opened wall panel where the ants are working hard and reseal it, and it will work. You'll find the white ants run off and leave you. Of course, it's not really legal in some places, but it's one of the old things that does work. So we'll talk about Joe White. About 1900, a bushman tracker, dingo trapper, runner of brumbies and scrubber cattle, had his own remedy, and he used a mixture of arsenic, bluestone and axle grease to mix it all together, to bind it together. The arsenic poison might kill a cancer. The bluestone would burn it out, as used by old-time horsemen to remove proud flesh from horses and cattle. Sounds logical, and it seemed to work too. It was known to kill skin cancer on a man or beast, and did. Also killed swamp cancer, a large area under the horse's stomach where the worms were breaking through the hide. Horses die of this one, becoming walking skeletons. It was also used on set fasts on horses' backs, where proud flesh had hardened and caused irritation to the horse when the saddle was on the horse's back. So it would take some time for the wound to heal afterwards. Left raw by the mixture, but cleaned out anyway. It was between 1900 and 1950 the thing they had, and it was all they had, so it got used. My sister Diana, we're on the road droving on the Mooney Highway, and my sister, she got bitten by a funnel web spider in 1953, and my dad opened up the 8 puncture holes. So this spider had left like 8 holes in her instep. Anyhow, he sucked the venom out and his throat swelled up, and he wasn't too good himself, and he applied a grain of Condys crystal to each hole. He'd use a darning needle to open up the holes, and he bandaged it up, and they took her into Surat, but there was no doctor there. Finally, the ambulance man checked Diana and said there was nothing more to be done. She survived on the Condys treatment. Yeah, so by me, Don Johnson, 21st of May, 10. Yes, mate, when I was 17, I spent a few weeks Ringbarker with Uncle Bill Brummel, Mum's brother. It was the killing of trees 48 years ago. Teams of men were employed to walk through the forest in an extended line, ringbarking selected trees. Some trees were spared. The axe, mulga trees, 13% protein, if the owner of the property knew about it. Good tucker, and of course the old cattle, they'd wind up with a few sticks in the stomach, but they'd survive. Limbs were lopped to feed the starving cattle, sheep and horses back then, and it kept them alive in the drought. The wilga tree, well, you see the leaves were all trimmed on the underside by sheep and cattle. In the sheep country you saw the underside of a wilga tree evenly trimmed, as if some gardener had cut her all off at the bottom. The old sheep would eat as high as he could reach and stand on his back legs. On the underside of the wilga, yellow jacket gum was used as posts, and iron bark too. Iron bark's pretty good stuff. Gigi was the favourite postmaker though, and will outlast anything else pretty much as a yard maker. The big trees, when you were ringbark and got a double collar about an inch wide, so the bark was gone into the sap that wide. The axe was dangerous too, very sharp, razor sharp in fact. You could shave your arm with it easily. I even dropped the axe into my leg when it skipped off the underside of a tree when I was trying to ringbark it, one of these crooked trees. So I had to drive to town to get some stitches back then. So your old saddle's getting a bit dry and the leather's on the point of cracking up like old cardboard. Get some cheap sheep kidney fat. There used to be heaps of kidney fat around a kidney in a sheep. Or get some offcuts from the butcher, melt it down until liquid. Or buy yourself some dripping from the shop. Then once you run this melted oil under between the saddle flaps, none in the saddle seat. We use boot polish on the surface of the saddle. Put fat there, you will get well-oiled strides, pants. Oil all leather work, including stirrup leathers, bridles, stock whips, etc. to retain their flexibility. Otherwise it dries out like old cardboard and it'll crack up on you. Yes, so there you go. By Don Johnson. Thank you.